Upstairs in my bedroom, before I knew it, he threw me on the bed and began telling me how much he loved me.
Who's to blame for a dangerous love affair?
Something's wrong here. Something's real wrong.
I think he preyed upon my vulnerabilities.
That was all a part of the calculation and the manipulation.
It was.
If I could change everything, I would.
Completely delusional, crazy, in love, fatal attraction kind of teenager.
These things, Your Honor, they are all true. They are facts.
It's frightening that one person can do so much damage.
What could drive a teenage girl to the idea of murder? Once dubbed the Long Island Lolita, Amy Fisher fell down the rabbit hole of obsession, violence, and scandal.
How is this possible?
Leading her to worldwide infamy before she even graduated high school.
She's only 17, but she is accused of a very adult crime.
It all started when Amy met Joey Buttafuoco.
He was the 36-year-old owner of the local auto body shop.
She soon became heavily infatuated with him. Her crush became so intense that she would purposely cause damage to her own car just to have a reason to visit him at work.
At the time, I was 16 years old. I just remember my head spinning, and he was saying such nice things to me.
Aside from their age gap, there was another major issue. Joey was a married father of 2.
He was wonderful to me, he was great with the kids, and I was proud of him.
However, that did not stop the pair. Amy and Joey began a sexual relationship.
And your thinking was, okay, Joey, we had sex, now you're my boyfriend.
Blinded by teen lust and jealousy, Amy begged Joey to leave his wife for her. But Joey didn't reciprocate these feelings at all.
Not only didn't he love me, he didn't think anything of me. I meant nothing.
Everything came down to a boiling point on May 19th, 1992, when Amy drove to Joey's house to confront his wife, Mary-Jo.
And I said, "Can I help you?" And she said, "Are you Mrs. Buttafuoco?"
She attempted to prove her affair to her, but Mary-Jo didn't buy any of it.
She explained to me that Joe left this t-shirt. She produced this t-shirt. And I said, "Look, I'll go in the house, I'll call Joe, and I'll tell him he came by."
And when she turned around to go back inside, Amy shot her in the head with a .25 caliber semi-automatic pistol.
But Mary-Jo was lucky, and 3 days later, she came to.
After waking up, she would identify Amy as the shooter.
They asked me, "Do you know who did this to you?" And I nodded yes.
That night, police arrested Amy Fisher and interrogated her for 12 hours until she confessed to the shooting.
The coming months were a media circus.
Pandemonium outside the courthouse. Amy Fisher and her lawyer rushed out a side door. Her parents pushed their way past a crush of photographers in a daze.
Amy was seen as a vulnerable girl who had been preyed upon.
Amy Fisher seemed to be a troubled teenager who had some huge problems and somehow found some solace in Joey Buttafuoco.
While others believed she was a calculated villain.
Motivated by lust and passion, you were a walking stick of dynamite with the fuse lit.
Joey denied everything about his relationship with Amy throughout the entire scandal.
I know she's a liar. I know she has no credibility.
And he had his wife's full support.
She defends her husband of 20 years, the father of her 2 young children.
But evidence of his guilt later surfaced, and he would serve 4 months in jail for statutory rape.
I did what I had to do to end it. I did my time, and I'm going home to my family.
Following his release, him and his family moved to California, and his wife later filed for divorce.
I was just at a point where all the reasons that I stayed weren't there anymore.
As for Amy, after pleading guilty to the shooting, she took an overdose of pills and ended up in the hospital.
I don't want to be the Amy Fisher that stands here today. I want to be the Amy Fisher that I was before I met Joe Buttafuoco.
While on suicide watch, desperate for money for legal expenses, Amy sold the rights to her story.
You were right. It was a bad idea. Why?
Multiple TV networks and production companies released primetime TV shows and movies about her case, with Alyssa Maliano and Drew Barrymore portraying Amy in different productions.
I know what I said! He's lying!
The judge in Amy's case did not hold back.
You are a tragedy and disgrace to yourself, to your family, to your friends, and to society.
She was sentenced to 15 years in prison for aggravated assault, but only ended up serving 7 years. But the story doesn't end there.
Following her release, she married Lou Bellara, had children, ultimately divorced, and along the way took part in some attention-getting TV.
After several reconstructive surgeries, Mary-Jo still lives with some facial paralysis.
The bullet is still lodged in the base of my brain and causes me constant pain and suffering.
She has since written a book about her experiences and no longer speaks to her ex at all.
I'm going in a better direction than where I came from.
Was Amy just a victim to Joey's manipulation? Or did she truly act on her own obsession? Do you think 7 years was enough time for shooting someone in the head? Swipe up to see more videos like this one and tune in next week to hear about a woman who went abroad to study but ended up behind bars.
It is so horrifying of an idea that you could be accused of something so terrible to someone that you cared about